In this presentation, I am going to analyse the organisation in which I work. I will explore the strategies which are being used to create a positive organisational culture. We are led by a principal who is capably assisted by the head of junior school, head of middle school and head of senior school. Along with these leaders, the directors of teaching and learning for each campus, the director of professional learning and other non-teaching members of staff make up the remainder of the school executive, and together they direct the school. My organisation is a co-educational independent school in a metropolitan centre. We cater for around 800 students from preschool to year 12. The school is divided into two campuses which are in different locations. The preschool and junior school are on one campus and the senior school is found in a different location. The leadership of this school is somewhat like a wagon. The reason I chose this particular image is because there are people leading from the front and others pushing the wagon from behind. I felt this image appropriately represented the leadership of my school. The leaders work together, and while one is leading from the front, often other members of the team will be encouraging from behind or doing the organisation, just like the person pushing the wagon from behind. However, they are all working together to head in the same direction, just like the children in the wagon. They have regular leadership team meetings and focus on projects together. Similarly, this is true of the leadership of my school, as it is a Christian school. The leadership team are always working towards creating an outstanding educational environment which is based on the Christian faith and biblical teaching. This underpins all decisions which are made within the school. The leadership of this school can be analysed in terms of the positive organisational culture which is being created. The more that I have analysed the culture, the more that I've become aware of the positive nature of this school. Cameron, Dutton and Quinn described positive organisational scholarship as being about the study of positive attributes and processes that lead to positive outcomes within organisations. In my school, one such example would have to be the relationship which has been built between the school and Gallup. This was an attempt to create a more positive, flourishing environment for both students and staff. About 5 years ago, Gallup was employed to survey all students and staff regarding their well-being, resilience and hope. They also provided professional development on strengths. This process was inspirationally led from the front by the leadership team. However, they also provided opportunities for other staff to train and become facilitators of change in this area. This was like the metaphor of the wagon, where the leadership team started the process with upfront guidance and provided opportunities for others to support from behind. Initially, Gallup surveyed the staff and students and the results were presented to all staff. The school leadership team were quite honest not only about the school's areas of strength, but about our weaknesses as well. Hope and positivity in staff were areas of weakness, and a number of strategies have been introduced to enhance this area since. With the support of the leadership team, the Staff Wellbeing Committee has been highly active since that time. They have engaged in small acts of kindness to show the staff that their hard work is appreciated. For example, in the junior school they have put on a staff breakfast, and the school has also paid for a coffee cart to provide each staff member with a coffee before school. These are small acts which have been appreciated and have built morale. As another example of positive organisational scholarship, staff and the older students were also encouraged to identify their strengths using the Gallup Strength Finder survey. We were educated in the positives of each strength, as well as the potential pitfalls. This was designed to help staff and students to be able to focus on their own personal strengths, but also to develop an understanding of those around them. These changes have been successful as they have displayed some improvement, particularly in the area of staff morale. Of course, improved staff morale also leads to improved positive attributes and learning for students as well, which is a wonderful outcome for all. Fredrickson also described positive organisational scholarship as being about the development of human strengths and virtues. In the Gallup survey, hope was identified as an area of weakness for students, particularly in certain age groups. This has been managed to some extent through the encouragement of our school values. Our school values are courage, compassion, hope, respect, service and love. These values are being explicitly taught in assemblies. The students in the junior school have also been developing examples of what these values look like in practice. Last year, the students were asked by the Year 12 leaders to create artworks to show these values. The best of these have now been framed and will soon be displayed throughout the school. Barbara Fredrickson discovered the broaden and build theory, which suggests that encouragement of positive emotions will help people to broaden their thinking and actions and, in turn, create long-term positive resources. I believe that the school has displayed its belief in the broaden and build theory through the establishment of my role as teacher assisting with student wellbeing. Specifically, I am tasked with finding and implementing programs and strategies which will build these positive resources in our students, as well as resourcing staff so that they are able to implement these programs in their classrooms. The head of junior school identified my passion for student wellbeing, which matched a need in the school, and he has provided me with some weekly release from face-to-face teaching to work in this area and to encourage positive teaching. In the metaphor of the wagon, the establishment of this position is an example of leadership from behind. The head of junior school has provided me with time to work in this area, and he has allowed me to lead from the front with the support of himself and the head of upper primary. This is also a strong example of positive organisational scholarship. The creation of this role was also an example of the adaptive leadership style of the head of junior school. Yukul and Masood discussed the importance of adaptive and flexible leaders in flourishing organisations. Originally, I had applied for a different position within the school. However, as we spoke, the head of junior school became aware of my passion and skills in the area of student wellbeing. He adapted and realised that there was a necessity to create a different position and fill this need in the school. Interestingly, this situation became a problem because others questioned the validity of the position due to the fact that it was not originally what was advertised. This was an example of the competing values discussed by Yukul and Masood. However, the head of junior school handled the conflict by decisively stating that I had proved that there was a need to be filled and he had reacted to this need. In staff meetings, the Director of Teaching and Learning is attempting to broaden people's mindsets through a focus on the positive. This is based on her understanding of gratitude through her study of the PERMA model. She often starts our staff meetings by encouraging people to identify things that have gone well in the school during the previous week. The Gallup survey also identified a weakness in that staff felt that they were not provided with a voice in decision making. This led to the creation of a series of voluntary teams which looked at the future of learning within the school. Staff identified the areas which needed to be explored, and the topics chosen included future learning, 21st century teaching, physical spaces and staff wellbeing. Those who volunteered to be on the teams examined research and explored other successful schools or positive deviants in each area. The teams then came up with proposals related to their specific topics. They proposed ways that the school could move forward in each area while staying in keeping with the culture and ethos of our school. These proposals were then presented back to staff. This was another example of positive organisational scholarship in practice within our learning environment. The leadership team listened to the voice of the staff and led by providing time and opportunities. Fredrickson described the benefits of positive emotions as broadening people's thinking, combating negative emotions, developing the ability to cope, fighting against depression, and building long-term resources to combat future negative situations. In the past few years, my school has worked to build these positive emotions into the school in a more explicit manner. This has provided the opportunity to gain the benefits described by Barbara Fredrickson. Leader attitude and actions can also impact the ability to build these positive emotions. In particular, my immediate leader is an excellent example of this, as she actively discourages people from focusing on the negative and draws them back to find the positives. This leads to another interesting area of discussion: role modelling of leaders. Zhang describes organisational citizenship behaviour as anything positive and constructive that employees do of their own volition that supports co-workers and benefits the company. Organisational citizenship behaviour is an interesting part of working in my school. Many staff engage in positive talk about the organisation outside of the school, and most colleagues will help each other out when needed. As with most people in the education industry, most of our teachers also work many hours beyond the classroom in face-to-face teaching. In many ways, this behaviour is modelled by the leaders of the school. They speak fondly of the school and its benefits, and they work long hours beyond expectation to ensure that the best outcomes are provided for our students. They also provide strong Christian role models both within the school and in their daily lives, which support staff to behave in a similar manner. However, I do think there is an interesting place that humility plays when it comes to organisational citizenship behaviour. Many of our leaders are quite humble people, and they do not go and tell the staff about the things that they do beyond their job description. Most likely this is in response to their Christian faith. Therefore, we do not always realise the extra hours that they're putting in. As I've learnt more about organisational citizenship behaviour, I wonder whether this poses a problem when we wish to encourage others to engage in this behaviour. In fact, one area which does demonstrate a conflict is in the area of sport. Teachers are expected to coach a sporting team for 2 terms of the year. This includes a training session during the week and a game on the weekend. In contrast, the leadership team is not required to be a part of this system, and this does provide a clash for staff. Perhaps a way to make staff feel more positive about this additional role would be for executive staff to either coach teams themselves or allow all staff to choose whether or not they wish to be involved. This could also benefit staff morale. Earlier in this presentation, I mentioned the term positive deviance. Spreitzer and Sonnenschein define positive deviance as deliberate actions which are different from those of others in that they are more honourable. In terms of positive deviance, the area in which my school excels is pastoral care. Time and again, I am reminded of the fact that parents choose this school because they want their children to be known and cared for. These concepts are reinforced to us regularly by the leadership team, and the leaders model this behaviour by treating every student as an individual with specific needs. In exploring this concept, I felt it was important to identify what it is that our school does differently, and I came up with the following. We cater for the individual child well in all areas, academically, pastorally and emotionally. Programs are modified to meet academic, social and emotional needs. Children are also treated with compassion and care. We hold team meetings with a range of staff, specialists and parents, and we provide a place where all students can belong. We also discipline using restorative justice practices to allow students to understand the impact of their actions on others. This is in contrast to many schools which have direct punitive systems in place. In this combination of ways, we manage students differently to many other schools, and parents are often attracted to our system of care. Therefore, as you can see, I work within a school which is rather positive in terms of its organisational culture. There are many wonderful initiatives which are being undertaken within the school, and these are based on research. Our leadership team is humble but decisive, and the individual members are also flexible and adaptive when needed. Just like the wagon, the leaders are working together to actively lead our school in a positive direction. Whilst there is still always work to be done, I've seen many wonderful examples of positive organisational culture being implemented over the 4 years that I've worked in this school. Sometimes it is easy to get caught up in the politics and practical areas which do not always flow smoothly within an organisation, but it is helpful to analyse the strategies which have been implemented in order to see the big picture of a positive organisation.